How we doing, YouTube? It's Deke. I'm back. We're gonna get back into content. I'm definitely gonna have a plan here to really get more and more out. Made some big switches. Definitely check out my Twitter if you haven't seen those. And I'm ready to roll. So what I got for you today is 5 MLS players who are returning from injury, either shortly. The time frame is coming up here. That'll make either a big impact or a guy to just kind of keep an eye on to see how they do in the lineup. And let's get rolling. Right out the gate, we got Conor Ronin. So Colorado has been rolling, and they don't really need a reason to rush him back. So with Conor Ronin, he is kind of everything for them. I know they got Georgia Mihalovic and others rolling right now. Congrats to Mihalovic for his son or daughter, I'm not sure. But if you look here, at the beginning of the season, 77.6, 47.6 for Ronin, and then he got hurt after 11 minutes, so you can just throw that one out. So he has missed a decent amount of time. The original time frame was used out 6 to 8 weeks, so we're right around that time. As far as training, he is ramping up training, more intense work. It's still non-contact type thing, but I would really think in the next couple weeks he's going to be back, albeit with maybe a spot from the bench. So if we take a look here, at the spreadsheet here. This is available to everyone, and the link will be here in the bio. But if you look at Ronin here, I do have all the news here, but the same kind of thing with his graph. The two replacements, I know I have them kind of thrown around here, but Oliver Laraz, he's been playing really well. So him as well as Cole Bassett has slid into, and Cole Bassett had a heck of a game last time out. So it'll be interesting to see where he finds his place. But if we go to the RotoWire free kick tracker, this toll is unbelievable. So if you're not over on RotoWire, drop a link as well. You can definitely find Deke's Diamonds on here as well. But if you just take a look here, and the best part about this feature is you can see game-by-game free kicks. If you look at the set-piece takers, Mihalovic is first, Laraz is second, and then Bassett has a couple. But if we take this little scroll bar here and go back to the beginning of the season, we take a look when Ronin was in the lineup, took all 8. Bassett took 1 free kick. And then it was all 4, and then he was injured. So Mihalovic, while he's taking all of them now, the first 2 matches, Ronin was on all of them. So you want a guy that's on set pieces, and out of this list, he's the most established and by far my favorite. I don't own him yet, but he is on my short list. It's just about pulling the trigger on him. Next one, we're going to go a little off the grid, but he's coming back. So Mahalo Opoku, he was at LAFC, huge guy. As far as a lot of hype, he was playing well. Then they shipped him to Montreal. He is kind of looking to get into some form and then kind of bounce back. So if we could take a look at what happened with him and how long he's been out. So Montreal have had a ridiculous amount of injuries. If you go back to Opoku, he's missed 8 weeks roughly, and he is targeting May 12th. So if you're watching this, this would be this weekend. He's eyeing that as a return. So we haven't heard whether or not that is. We're sticking to it. They did have a midweek cup match that he is not going to be in. So we might see some minutes on the weekend. As far as the attackers, Kokoro that came in, he's been injured. Jose Martinez injured. So there is a hole up top, and if he can get back healthy and get back scoring goals, he might want to cement himself to maybe make a move to Europe, because he is still 22, still pretty young, and he just needs to not be injured and kind of get into some form. So as far as Opoku, if you take a look at his scores, they weren't great, but he does have those peaks and valleys. He is pretty goal dependent as far as of recent, but you'll take that. If you look at the entire graph with a little bit of LAFC, there's a lot of green there. There's a lot to like there. As far as in Montreal, so I do like this filter. You can switch from LAFC to Montreal. He's been okay at times. I played him in Cap 240 a decent amount, just because he had a low L15, but yeah, he's going to hit those scores whenever he scores. And Montreal at home is a different animal than on the road, as a lot of teams are. And he is a decent shout at a really cheap compared to what he was going for, which is rare at now. I mean, Last sales average $16. Can't do much worse than that. Next one, he's actually come into the fold again. I did buy him recently. Is Dylan Barrera. So Dylan Barrera is a very talented. He is 22 years old. He showed some great signs last year. So again, he's been out ACL. So he's been out a really long time. So we're gonna have to change this to all just to see what he was scoring. If you look back to last season, he did have some hothead plays where he showed his youth and he kind of, red cards, things like that. But he was unbelievable on the ball. He's definitely going to take some time to get back into it. He sailed one over the net. Carl's Hill and let's see, yeah, Thomas Shankale, they kind of went on a 2-on-0. It was a little bit long for Carl's Hill, and then he squared it to Barrera, who just skied it high. But, he's going to come back into the fold. I do like in 15 minutes, he had 7.5 AA, which shows he's involved, and I do think these minutes are going to ramp up. The only issue is, as far as New England, they haven't been great, obviously, but they did come off a win. If you look at their kind of, they got Shankale on the other side, and Baraktarovic on the other side. And Nacho Hill is out. He just had surgery today. So that does open up a spot. It'll be interesting to see where Barrera slides in. I do think they really like what they have in Baraktarovic. I talked about him before. And as far as Tomas Shankale, he's played striker a little bit as well because Vrioni's been horrible. So maybe he slides up there, Vrioni back to the bench, that type of thing. So there are opportunities, but it's going to be a little bit tricky to see who's going to be on the wing for each of those. So that's Dylan Barrera. Next one is so much talent, but Cushing and company in New York City have just been kind of wasting him. He had some lukewarm rumors to go to like Brazil, back to Brazil, different rumors going on. But Talis Magna, he was burned out last year. Let's just take a look at it. You see Monsef Barrera this year at striker. It's just ever since Tati Castellanos left, they haven't had that number 9 that just kind of pops off for them. So if you look back, and we're gonna have to go to all with Tati, I know we're not going to get these scores again, most likely. He was the best in the game, honestly. To play with him in that MLS summer period, he was unbelievable. He was just unbelievable. But you kind of fast forward to last year, he was played in a number 9 whenever he's a winger, and he just had zero confidence whatsoever. So now he's been kind of going through an injury. He wanted to play, but the training staff didn't let him, so they've been easing him back. He was on the bench last match, but he did not appear. He's going to get minutes, but again, kind of similar situation with New England. There's just so many players in the wings for New York City FC. We do have Talis Magna here, Wolf, Ojeda, Julian Fernandez, who it doesn't start nearly enough. You look at Fernandez, he's another guy with a ton of talent. He started one out of these matches. It's just a lot of sub appearances. Alonso Martinez has looked good at times. So they have a lot of players, and will he play at number 9 again? Barrera is horrendous. Take a look at these scores. He just can't score. Like, he is so bad as far as just finding the net. He hasn't scored again this year. He might have had one last year, but if that's the option, I don't like it because he plays better on the wing, and Mijatovic would be nice to get some run, but his grandma posted that they were a little frustrated about that, which is pretty funny. But yeah, Talis Magno, ton of talent. The ceiling was unbelievable. It's dropped down a little bit, but interesting to see what he kind of does as we go throughout the season. And last but not least is Benjamin Kramashi. So he is 19 years old, so he's still young. Before the Messi kind of influx, he was doing really well. He kind of had a breakout season last season. And then he had a hernia issue, which kind of really had him struggle. So last season, if you kind of look at the drop off here, he had some really nice scores. He plays as a central midfielder who likes to get forward a little bit and move the ball around. A little bit decisive dependent. Some games he had some nice AA, but you're looking at like a rare sighting. So here he had 27, which just doesn't happen that much. But anyone in Inter Miami's lineup is worth a shout. And with Kramashi being a super high potential guy, I know there's a lot of mouths to feed, and injuries are absolutely crazy. He has been back. If you look here, 4 appearances off the bench. He did have a tap in here. Um, but it's interesting to see where he's going to kind of land. And if you take a look at Miami, man, they just have so many players in that position. If you take a look at last match, Rojas came in at 45 minutes. He's playing. I mean, he can play central midfield. He can play wing spot. He's very kind of all over. You look at Diego Gomez, who's out for 6 weeks. He can play that left wing. He can play in the midfield as well. Redondo, he's more of a defensive midfielder, but he's there too. You have Busquets. You have David Ruiz, who's played really well. So there's just a lot of mouths to feed. So as far as Kramashi, it's going to be tough to see when he's going to start and if he can get back in a starting role. But they're going to ease him in, and they have so many players. We are getting into midweeks coming up, so the option is there for him to start. And if you just take a look at Messi and Suarez, yeah, they had all the action and everyone around them pretty much didn't score very well, but you're going to have a lot of assist chances and a lot of good chances to, make way and cement yourself in a great team and one of the best in the MLS. So hopefully you guys like that. I am going to get into more of these videos as well as live streams. So I appreciate you guys coming back to the channel, and we'll catch you with the next one. See ya.